What do you think is like, we're basing all of this movement, this podcast, all this community, everything is based on the idea that we know for a fact there are X truths. What are these X truths to you? Like, meaning, for certain we have NHI and how many different species, and we have crap. Like, what do you know for certain that you're basing all of this work on, right? Paradigm Institute. I mean, your whole life is, at this point, I would say, I mean, I know you do other things, but I would imagine a lot of your time is spent on this. So, like, what do you know to be true to want to spend, your time on this?
Well, there's
and I know you saw those photos,
yeah,
and that, but beyond that,
well, there's a list of them. For example, I saw the little 8mm black and white home movie that Colonel Corso actually recorded for his grandchildren, not to be shown to them until after he passed away, where he actually recounted the events that took place in 1945. I'm not talking about 1947, when he was the director of research and development at the Pentagon, when he asserts later that he was have put into his possession certain of the technology that was recovered from the Roswell crash. This is earlier. He talks about the events that took place in 1945 when he was one of the range officers at Yucca Flats at White Sands in June of 1945, when we were in the process of detonating the first nuclear bomb, the first atomic bomb.
Okay. Is this the Trinity case that I hear about? Is this is where? Okay, I just covered this. It was in the Chris. Well, I thought maybe Chris Mellon was mentioning in his tweet that he put out. I kind of found this 45, and I thought, is that connected to the Trinity?
Oh no, this is a different one. This is a little different. This isn't the. This is one that took place right at Yucca Flats. This is a different. Got it. This is a different one. One that the people aren't talking about yet much, but what he asserts in the little 8mm home movie, that he basically put on a little pedestal and took his own little 8mm movie and then put it away so that it wouldn't be available till after he died, only for his grandchildren. And he told them that when he was a range officer in June of 1945 at Yucca Flats at White Sands, he said he took a lunch break and went off into kind of the nearby hills to have lunch, to sit down and have his lunch. And he came upon an actual UFO that was actually just sitting on the ground there, and that it had been forced down apparently by some engagement with the intense radar systems they had up all around the test facility. And he said that he actually approached the vehicle, and a UFO person got out of the vehicle. Not a U.S. military person, not a Chinese person, not a person from Russia, but a UFO person who, he came out of the vehicle and telepathically communicated to him, pleaded with him to please help them, that, they weren't here to hurt anybody, that what had happened is somehow their vehicle had become disenabled, and that the being was asking him if he could possibly go back and get them to turn off whatever this is that was going on, so they could escape. He said he actually made a decision at that point, that he went back and actually got them to turn off the radar for like 5 minutes. And then saw the vehicle just shoot right up off the ground and take off. And he told his grandchildren that. Now, what myself as an attorney, when I see a piece of evidence like that, I place a great deal of credibility in that. That a person in his stature is not going to be putting together a film like that for his grandchildren.
Just make up a story, or
just make it up.
Yeah. That does sound a lot like Jason Sand's story, coincidentally. Which is odd.
I don't know exactly what he is saying, from one minute to the other. But the bottom line is that in the same way when the famous cable in General Ramey's hands, That's something that no one would have thought you could ever figure out how to read the cable,
Sure.
but I was,
that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
That's what I got. I was tangentially involved in that because the person came up out of the audience back in 1994 when I was speaking at the International UFO Congress, giving the people there an update on what we were doing at Harvard with Dr. Mack. And this fellow came right up out of the audience and explained to me that he thinks he had found the photographer that was called in the middle of the night to go and take the photograph of the infamous, weather balloon debris, right?
Yeah.
And as soon as I saw that photograph ages ago, I said, "Wow, what is that he's got in his hand?" There's General Ramey kneeling down on the floor taking his little photo, and he's got, it looks like a cable of some sort in his hand. And so I said, someday we're possibly going to get to read that thing.
We'll get it blown up, right? We'll have a better, clear image, and we can,
And that's exactly what we did. The guy told me that he thought he found him. I said, look, if you can find the guy and find for sure that that's the guy, find out if he's actually got the negatives, because he probably may have kept the negatives because it's such a major event in his life.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He had. And so we ended up getting it digitized and blown up and worked on. And when we discovered what was actually in it, they said, take the disc, to right field, and bring the bodies, and you're saying that's
what the message said.
That's right.
It said, "Oh,
that's
wow,
right." And that's not a weather balloon, And so when I saw that, we went and told Peter Jennings about it and said, Peter Jennings, you got to let people know about this. And Peter Jennings actually put on, he got ABC or whoever it is he worked for at the time, to make them allow him put it on television. He did like a half-hour little special show where he.
Oh, really?
Yes. Oh, yeah. You can find it. It's probably in the dusty dungeon somewhere now, but I can tell you, that's what I did. I said, screw. I said, just like someday we're going to be able to get at we're going to have technology where, with regard to the Zapruder films, we're going to be able to track in the negatives, the emulsion that's on the negatives. We're going to be able to track the heat signatures of the bullets.
Wow.
We'll be able to do that someday.